Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present this work today, Vi, and the convener of the forum really at large. I'm based at University of Edinburgh as a university teacher, but my research is mainly focused on understanding the impacts of human activities on deep sea benthic ecosystems. And as we just mentioned, I had the pleasure of co-leading the working group looking at the effects of climate change on Scottish deep seas. We've just finished our work as a working group, and we've produced 2 outputs, a MASTS story map and a policy brief that I'll show you today, and I hope that you'll find these interesting and be able to use them in your own work. So it's basically a website that you can navigate to the same way you would any website. So you'd scroll down. The story map is organized in different sections. So we have an introduction, a section on the environmental effects of climate change, looking at the stressors that I highlighted to you at the beginning of my talk. And then we have a series of case studies looking at sediments, sponges, corals, demersal fish. We've also included a conclusion section where we have a summary of the information that you find in the story map, as well as some recommendations. And as you scroll through, we've tried to come up with some text that is understandable for a broad range of members of the general public. We've tried to limit the use of jargon, and that sometimes was the most difficult part of the working group's efforts, was to try and agree on what constitutes jargon. It sounds like a very easy task, but actually we kind of seem to forget that we use technical terms in our everyday as scientists. And then we try and include tools that a reader can interact with. So RGS is particularly, or story maps, sorry, are particularly well suited for these types of maps. You can navigate through to different regions to know more about specific areas of the deep sea in Scotland and get a whole range of information on these offshore marine regions, as we call them here. We haven't reinvented the wheel, so a lot of the information that is here comes from other sources. So we've embedded used videos that we found from other researchers within the MASTS community or from, further abroad, which are really good videos and that we could use straight off the back, or good figures that we thought were particularly meaningful. Another feature that's really helpful in story maps is that you can also embed images and make these images kind of quite interactive. So for example, in the sediment case study, we used a slider tool to try and engage the reader a little bit more and make them realize that actually sediment regions are full of really cool animals and really interesting organisms like the xenothiophores. And so you can use these sliders to reveal to the reader where the different species are on the picture, for example. And that can be a really nice way to highlight the diversity that exists in the deep sea and their importance to the reader. You might have noticed that in our text, we've tried and make everything or relate the references of the things that, of the elements that we showcase. So we've tried to embed links to the literature where we find our specific piece of information, for example. So there are references throughout used in the story map that you can, so you can see exactly where we get a specific part of or key bit of information that we highlight in our story map.